Well, how can I begin? The world is going through something very, very bad right now. It's very stressful, very sad, and very difficult. Um, it's very heavy. It's very heavy, and it's no joke. It is absolutely no joke. It is not something that I want to come on this live stream and simply talk in a casual sort of manner and bring out what I have to give with my creativity in this live stream. I just find it um shocking. I find it unbelievable. And I find it very disappointing and a little hurtful that I knew a teacher um, who I will not share his name with all of you, that I knew very, very well. Um, he had a very flamboyant, very jovial personality, and he was very, very nice and very compassionate, upbeat, lively, happy-go-lucky, and really, but with that balancing it, you know, knowing the boundaries of what to take seriously and what to not to take so seriously. What you can joke about, what you can have fun with, what is more casual and light and less serious and hot button of an issue. And I remember there was one time when he did a podcast with all the teachers because it was um, COVID that was going on. And of course, people were separated from others. They were stuck in their homes. Everybody, was affected by the fear virus. Um, and so many people lost their lives. And I mean, I could go on and um, on a tangent about and nostranza, as I like to call it, about the many, many things that occurred um, during that time. But I remember there was a song that he and another teacher worked together to create, and it was the king. It's called "The King of Social Distance," and I am not going to put any links to anything. I'm not going to give any specific information that exposes them and their identity and what they did because I just know, I just have a very bad feeling that it's wrong. So I will not be linking to those things. Um, so they were doing this song together. And while it was supposed to send a positive message, and while it was supposed to be fun and hopeful and uplifting and um, casual. it did seem like they were making um, a molehill out of a mountain, a small deal out of a really, really big deal, and joking around and having fun as teachers, as adult people. And this is just how I interpreted it. And I thought that I might bring that to your attention um, because I think that it's so profound during these times. Um, and so COVID was not something to joke about at all. And I feel that that was wrong. I feel that that was wrong. But, you know, makes life interesting, I guess. So, you know, sitting here on this live stream, I'm very limited in what I can tell you, and I'm aware of that. I'm aware of those limitations, and normally when I have live streams and when I do videos, usually I'm not very limited, and right now I will become unlimited for other things and creative and varied because I don't want to feel the feeling of me repeating myself. Uh, Anything limited. But this is an exception to that. This is an exception. This is a huge exception. I think that pains me to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to state the fact as it is. In 2020, just 2 years ago, COVID hit the United States and the world. It was so much bigger than what's going on, even though what is going on is very potent, very significant, and I think that it's only fair to jump on and make a couple videos dealing with this. I really strongly recommend you go to see Baraka Goldsmith's live stream, which is called A Prayer for Peace. And in that live stream, which is done so well, um, and she has such positive energy, very uplifting energy, very optimistic energy. Um, and if there was any astrologer to turn me around from having a bad day, then it would be her. Um, and so I just thought that I'd mention that. I mean, I could go into detail, but I am not going to. Um, and I highly encourage you to go on and watch that um, and see for yourself because I don't want to sit here racking my brain over the words that I have to describe how well done um, and moving um, that was. Um, and it was um, just really, um, really potent and profound. It really was. Um, so, you know, I believe in creations of new things. I believe in creations of new words. I strongly believe in that because where would we be now if somebody did not come up with new words? They didn't develop, they didn't spread. Um, and so somebody has to invent because where would we be now without the technology, without the phone and computer, without cars, without trains, planes, and automobiles. So I am going to make things up, but I do know very well what I'm talking about. And I want to make that clear. Um, what I'm going to be creating now, or what I've already created, which I'm going to be mentioning now, is something that I have thought of before and something which I will share with you because um, I just think that it's so important that I do. Um, think about the word express. Think about what it means to express yourself, to really, really be in yourself, standing up for your point of view, standing up for what you believe, what you feel, what you think, um, and, making it outward, voicing it, thereby releasing it now that you're getting the words and the feelings out of your system, releasing them. And sometimes we can express things because we want somebody to get a message. We want them to take a certain lesson away. Now, this does not have to be in the form of sitting in a classroom, sitting at desks uh, in front of a teacher doing a lecture. Um, but it is this feeling like, oh my gosh, it is this feeling of you are rebelling and resisting. You are mad at this person. You're expressing yourself and its fuel. And you feel very passionate about what you're saying and how you're feeling. If you listen to the song Aladdin, um, called I don't remember what the title of it is called. Let me just look up real quick. By the way, pandemic, the word pandemic means a disease that affects a country or the world. Um, so we are currently recovering from a period um, known as the pandemic. And eventually, Apparently, um, the COVID virus will dwindle to being flu. So I don't remember what the title of that is called, so I don't want to make something up. This live stream is not about making things up. So, um, let me see here. Okay, I don't remember what it's called. Um, but it's called um, be be silenced or something like that. But in the song, let me just look up Speechless. That's the name of the called. Okay. Um, so it's called Speechless. Speechless. Uh, and this feeling of expressing yourself and being in your authenticity, being in your truth. Um, you know, Against the other person is what I would take the term expressing and I would make a subword I like to call, known as um, expressing. Um, but regardless, it is expressing. Expressing yourself against somebody for things that you want them to hear, you want them to understand, you want them to learn, you want them to take this lesson away from so profound, so meaningful. Um, so I think that this situation is taking a toll on a lot of people, and it is very aggravating, very frustrating, very stressful and agitating. And I think, that we could be sitting at our desks worrying about how are we going to manage a financial situation that is not that bad in respect and in comparison to what the Russian people, what the Ukrainian people are experiencing right now as I speak. Um, there's so much. Um, there are so many bad things that have happened. So many bad things. And I could go on and describe what kinds of bad things, but I will not. Because if I'm being honest, I don't know for sure. But I do know that is very bad, very stressful, and it's very, very heartbreaking. So the next point that I wanted to chat about is the point of the fact that all bad things come to an end. Eventually, eventually, good prevails over evil. What kind of world would this be if that wasn't the case? Where would America be right now? Where would so many places around the world, such as Europe, um, be right now if that wasn't the case? All bad things come to an end, and good prevails over evil. And there's so many examples to this. So many wonderful examples. They could be as small as if you were to see the movie, um, The Book of Life. And there's a really, it was just, it, it, it really was moving to see when the main character had to fight off all of the bulls in one giant bull that the past family lineage had to fight. And instead of using weapons, now bear in mind that in this film, music was very discouraged with his family. His family discouraged music. They were like, no, this has been going on for generation after generation. You are going to continue with this lineage, with what this family name means, as this is the family who fights bulls, as this is in the family who, being in the family, but then getting out into the arena and giving it all that you have to fight this bull. And what he did at this particular scene, he had to do this or he would not regain back his life. He pulled out his guitar and he started playing, and the song melted and made this giant monster, this giant creature dissolve, disappear. And what could be seen descending down were the fragments of what was remaining. It's kind of similar to um, a scene in Moana as well. But beyond the movies, let's have a very optimistic view of this because I can recall. I can recall that during the American Revolutionary War, when the world was a very different place, when nuclear weapons had not become invented yet. The British and the American colonies were fighting who would win the battle. The British, an incredibly powerful empire with all of their weapons and all of their soldiers, all of their resources, all of the strength and the power that they had and that they dominated, and their determination versus the colonists' will and determination that this is our country. We deserve to call it our own. We don't deserve to have the British putting all of these rules and top down regulations into American society. And eventually, they did win because of their courage, because of their bravery, because of their determination to win. This is not the only example. Another example is Mohammed Gandhi. You know, think of what he did with the peace protest, taking, I mean, not taking, but so many um, citizens, fellow Indian people joined in on what was known um, as the Salt March. I believe it's called the Salt March. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it's called the Salt March in the end. So he was leading all these people to the shores of India, and he picked up salt. And I don't know, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he brought it up and he persuaded the Indian people that they deserved not to have the British or not to have the British rule their country, um, rule their nation. Um, so that's another example. Martin Luther King Jr. is yet another example. Um, and so there is this hope, light at the end of the tunnel, but being in the present moment, being in the now, being at peace, being connected to all of the things that you're seeing around you, all of the things that you are hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, feeling. Being very stable and secure. Being in that tranquility. Being in that place of being grounded. So, um, that's really what this North Node in Taurus is saying. It's really saying to break free from all the past karma of the South Node in Scorpio, of all of the negative, dark stuff that is going on in the world. How we can come back to center and come back to our own lives. And no matter what the situation, no matter what the situation, there are always things to be thankful for. And it's just detaching from the negative stuff, detaching from what brings us down into low frequencies and into lower vibrations. Those are not my words. Those are Braca Goldsmith's words. She talks more about that in her live stream. Now, I also encourage you, I highly recommend seeing Steve Judd because he has these videos about the Ukraine's Russia situation that he made, and he talks. And when he talks, he doesn't sugarcoat it. He gets right down to the point, right down to the facts. His approach is a very realistic and a very practical, yet an approach that is optimistic as well. So, and I would believe that it would be. Uh, and so he was talking, and there was one video about that. And then there's another video talking all about the fact that, and I want to tie this back into COVID because that was such a huge thing and is such a huge thing. It's only fair to do this. The fact that in March, at the beginning of March, everyone was living their lives, everyone was enjoying their lives. Nothing was wrong, everything was fine. And then transitioning into the later part of March, the end of March, how that was different. Of how, and this is the fact that in a week, and I am just stating the fact, I'm just stating what I heard, what I watched, what I listened to in the best way possible that I can. Um, in about, a short amount of time, very short amount of time, things changed. And I don't mean that in a good way. When I use the word change, it pains me to say it because, I believe in negative things and then positive things, then negative things. But at that same token, you have the positive and negative, and then positives will come out of that negative. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. Um, Talking about the fact that you were to make simple decisions What would be the best possible route to get to work? Maybe I should decide upon making a change and changing my diet. And that's both general and specific at the same time. And that's another term that I just want to mention. Another term that I want to explain, which I call, which combining these two together, um, specigen, specific and general, specigen. And I explain that. I explain what it means so that you know what it means, which is so important. Because I certainly wouldn't want people to watch this and go, "What the heck are you talking about?" That is not my intention here at all. Um, so, let me see. Well, what I talked about with North Node and Taurus, finding love and peace. Finding love and peace. Um, how that how that was different. How this thing is happening. And I really, really encourage you to pray. Pray and hope um, as much as you can. And like, oh my gosh, as I'm sitting here right now, I am thinking about a song that I listen to. And this song is from Frozen, Frozen 2, and it's called The Next Right Thing. The Next Right Thing. Do the next right thing. Go look at the lyrics of that song. Go listen to that song because that song is so resonating and it's so resonating to right now. Um, with being in the dark and then stepping into the light, doing what you can do in your power that is the best that can be done. You know, we could, America um, could really land in a very bad place if we would happen to get involved. We would happen to put ourselves in the war and fight for Ukraine because this leader, um, you know, I I honestly pray. I honestly want to pray that I and all of us can see the light of the situation, and lead um, Putin to see the light, to the light, and that more love and peace. I mean, there's so many songs. It's just it is so overwhelming right now. It's just there are so many things that that I could talk about. I mean, I will probably look back on this and go, wait, you didn't talk about that? Why didn't you talk about that? Maybe I'll look back on this and go, why didn't I bring up this song? And I listen to this now. Oh, so much would happen. Why didn't I think of this? I mean, we're not human doings, we're human beings. And also, we can't think of everything, can we? But how music, how meditation, how prayer, how journaling, and all of these spiritual practices can be so beneficial right now. Meditation, cutting yourself off from whatever is going on, making the choice, saying, okay, I'm going to release this. I'm going to relax, and I'm going to release it. Just naturally release it. Naturally. Getting grounded, connecting to the divine, and starting afresh when you open your eyes. Journaling, getting all of your thoughts, all of your feelings out onto paper, writing them down. It's a powerful thing to write things down on paper. Write it down, journal. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking. Getting that out of your system. Um, Journaling, um, meditation, and it's okay if um, you don't do these things, uh, but still, they're just recommendations. So we have these things: getting out of nature, stepping outside your house and getting connected to the earth, breathing that fresh air, which you know really awakens you, giving that that energy to your life. How um, wonderful that can be, how um, refreshing that can be. Um, so getting out of nature, praying, connection to a higher power, um, and hope, hope for the best, and hope that this can turn around. You could say fun, fun, fun in 2021, but 2021 is done. But it's me and you in the year of 2022. Me and you, 2020. Get how that rhymes? Because what is okay, like, I'm talking about numerology now. If you break down the digits of 2021, they break down to 2 plus 2 equals 4, plus 2 is 6. This is 6, which is all about relationship, all about healing relationships and harmony, peace, and balance in relationships. Libra, in other words, loving, and nurturing. Um, so uh, that is what the sex energy is about. And so praying for love, praying for peace, praying, um, hoping for healing, and how healing these spiritual practices can be also oracle cards. Whatever is going on, let it go, no matter what you feel about these things. Even regardless, it's just a surrendering and an accepting of all of it. radical acceptance, not bypassing, but just radically accepting what is going on, being in the here and now, and choosing, you know, where are we putting our attention? Where are we putting our mind and our focus these days? Are we putting it solely and a lot of it on this matter, or are there other and better things to focus on that would make us feel happy and um, uh, would make you enjoy your life? I mean, I I could list so many adjectives, but that's I think the most important thing. What makes you happy? What makes you happy? So important, especially with North Node and Taurus. What do you value? What makes you feel secure and stable and peaceful? Um, with the South Node in Scorpio, which is all about what's going on right now, control, power, all the dark stuff, all the deep stuff. And it's wonderful timing because of where the North Node, which is the destiny, which is where we want to go, where we want to go. And I want to say the formula of the high road of where that South Node is would equal the North Node. Um, so Scorpio is, releasing, healing, transformation, all that type of stuff. And it's also important to look at the opposition, where the nodes are opposite. So South Node being in Taurus, North Node being in Scorpio. Both of these point towards um, releasing, letting go, being content, being peaceful. You know, at a different place, the North Node in either Leo or Aquarius is being the individual, both equally being in the individual self. Um, so I also really, really want to call to mind an amazing, phenomenal album by Barbara Streisand, and it's called Walls. Walls by Barbara Streisand. Go listen to that album. Go listen to even the song Walls. I would recommend the songs What's on My Mind, The Rain Will Fall, the song Walls, Imagine, and Better Angels. What if we use our better angels? And I did a live stream about building bridges instead of walls. Building bridges instead of walls. What would happen if we do that? What would happen if we decided that instead of building up all of the bricks and the mortar, all of these big structures that would keep us inside this, but also isolated because of other situations, other people on the other side of the wall, in isolation, in a prison of our own making, in a prison of our own making. And what if we can tear down those barriers Tear down that barrier, tear down that wall, forgive, you know, being kind, being open, just, releasing, accepting, um, relaxing into, and um, building that bridge, building that connection. Bridges connect either of the two sides, or the walls separate. And although it is, and the physical and the metaphorical walls can overlap. I mean, if you think about, even an example is in the show Waiting for God. There's an episode where Tom Ballard and Diana builds a wall because she's mad at Tom at wanting to live with her. And so something happens, but so she builds a wall emotionally. She's emotionally and mentally blocking him out. She's emotionally and mentally blocking him out. And also physically. But you don't have to have the physical wall, obviously. Uh, Obviously not. To where um, you can have emotional, mental. And so there's that song which is so powerful. The melody of it, the mix of minor and major key, better angels. Looking to the higher power, our higher self, or better angels guiding us in life. I mean, I want to let the music speak for itself. I mean, so many things I'm describing. The song Love is the Only Answer by Colette Baron Reed. So many songs by Susan Boyle. Go listen to Susan Boyle. And that's just a recommendation. Go listen to music. I would really, really recommend music that really expresses how you feel. Um, I think the song Speechless from Aladdin's one. I think, I mean, there's so many. What I can't imagine this life without art. And art comes in many forms: paintings, books, stories, and music. What would this life be without music? I noticed that my choir teacher one time was wearing a shirt that said, "Music is life itself." Music is life itself. And I think that in so many ways, that's so true. I mean, I could be walking down the hallway, and what kind of uh, orchestra music would be for that day? What if I were to be, working, working, working would be, did it, did, all these types of things, the rhythm of life. Have you ever heard the rhythm of life song? Do 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 do. And it's a choral song. You can go listen to it. But so yeah, music that um songs by um Colette Baron Reed. Um, Tori Amos has her new Ocean to Ocean album. Um, Sarah Brightman as well. I have a lot of people linked on my um, channel, and also Trevor Hall. In fact, I think what I might do right now is go and type in Trevor Hall so that I have it for later. Um, Trevor Hall. His music. There's so many things. Um, like I think about in a series of unfortunate events that I was watching on Netflix. And I am thinking about the village of teledevotees and the long list of rules that they had that forbade, prohibited all these forms of art. The only books were the like a not so interesting one and then the rule book. How you can simplify your life, find your purity, um, heal um, your life as well. You know, all those types of things, and rising above the fray. You have other things. You know, paths to go on with your life. I mean, I can't say this for everybody. I cannot say this for everybody, but people in the world, a lot of people in the world, and in no way, shape, or form would I want to make the people that are suffering um, upset that even more so because of what they don't have, what they don't have that so many places around the world have. And I'm not saying more people are better off now than me. No, that's not at all what I'm saying, and that's not at all what I want to say. So, um, living your life, finding something that brings you joy, even if you're somebody that is going through, and so many people are some way, shape, or form going through a real rough patch right now. What heals you? What brings you joy? What brings you peace? And don't take my word for this, but what raises the frequency? Um, your bliss. Um, Bliss. It's like I was watching Call It Burn Raids, um, who's a Oracle expert. One of her cards for this month's reading is Garden of Venus, I believe, from Shaman Stream Oracle. It's all about coming to peace, um, resting, pleasure. Um, so, and dropping into peace. Being specific, dropping into peace. Um, so, that is my contribution to this. Um, I um, haven't been posting as many things this week. Things have shifted around my mind. um, so many ways, certain things. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. Thank you for watching. I encourage you to share this, like this, um, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and hit the notification bell so that you see when my new videos come up. So, thank you for watching.